Okay, cool. Sweet. Anyone yeah, so like is anyone doing what's like the consensus of our audience? Like anyone working right now? Or like what's like the kind of like population that's in here, you know? Students, art students. Just using like all these painterly brushes. What's up?
I was just gonna say I'm still kind of looking for the next gig after the Forza stuff kind of wrapped up. It's been, I don't know. Have you heard that like LA's coming back yet, or is it still kind of quiet out there?
Oh, just in the job market?
Yeah.
It's you know, I mean, it's I don't think it's like no secret. It's pretty quiet, you know. It's like just that kind of like that season, you know, or the, you know, what we're kind of going through. But I think obviously there's still games and companies and, you know, things that are just getting made and everything, you know. But like there's a different, you know, production rate. A few years ago it was like super popping, right? It was like there was almost just like too much work, you know. There was a lot of things going on. Here, let's see. What should I even draw? I don't know if I'm
heard Europe has kind of come back. Like a lot of like the Pinewood guys have like gotten on the new stuff. So.
Well, that's good, you know. But so I think like right now but I always think like whenever there's a downtime, there's an up time. You know, that's kind of like always what ends up happening, and using this time to kind of just get ready is like kind of a good use of this, you know. If there's any extra time for anybody, you know, it's so good to do that right now, just to be able to like get ahead of the game a little bit. I remember when I first started my whole concept art career, we had a similar economy where it was just like crap, you know. Like studios were shutting down over a weekend. Like people would be like, hundreds of people were getting laid off. This isn't like 2008, and there was a big world economic like crisis, and it was bad, you know. And it kind of reminds me of now a little bit. But that's the thing, right? It's like during that time it reminded me, it was a very similar situation. So it you know, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff happening there, you know what I mean? Good things to learn from, more or less, you know. All right.
Just out of curiosity, how long have you been collecting skateboards?
Oh, these skateboards behind me, they're like, I've had them for like a few years. But these are more like all based on my other hobbies, like car hobby. I have like a really big car hobby. So that's kind of like where that all stems from, you know. Gotta have a passion outside of the passion. I think that's so important, right? You know. It can't be like, I don't know about for everyone else. Like let me know, like how is it? Do you guys like all, is it art all the time, or is there like a second gear, you know, or a different outlet that you guys kind of like go through where the passion goes, you know? 'Cause I know a lot of people are like into like let's say like martial arts, like or exercise, or like doing some kind of like external hobby like that. It's like really good. I'm kind of curious what like you guys are into. Any hobbies out there? What do you guys do outside of art? Oh yeah, totally, right? And totally get you so much burnout, you know. I'm trying to think about how to organize this. I've never really done like a live stream kind of like this, so I'm just kind of, you guys are gonna help me figure this out along the way. So give me some feedback, like hey James, you know, just do more art, or if there's questions, I would love to know questions. You know, if there's anything you guys want to talk about specifically, or you know, just kind of find out more about, you know. I'm just kind of painting and randomly looking at what I'm painting. Just kind of like talking through this and creating some things here. Let me actually spend more time on this. But yeah, it's I'm gonna look kind of funny because I'm just like super squinting my eyes, It's hard for me to look at these photos with all the information inside of it without squinting, to kind of like get rid of some of the real details in there and stuff, Like it gets overwhelming. My eye gets really distracted by the details that are here, So much tapping sounds everywhere. Yeah, just curious.
Are you doing one of those trees, or are you kind of like using the reference to just go up your own design?
Yeah, I think that's what's ending happening right now. I'm just kind of taking it whichever way, Sometimes I'll just like do a study, or maybe kind of like modify it and sort of like use it as a base reference to figure out maybe something a little bit more conceptual, but it's just in this like very strict container, Yeah, it's some.
Have you ever done a thing where like you've done like a bunch of these studies and then got on a project where you're like, oh, I need like a swamp tree, and you're like, wait a sec, and you just like open up the old Photoshop file and just like copy what you did and paste it in?
Oh, dude, so there's actually a couple of really cool stories about stuff like that. So, there has been times where doing personal art has triggered people to like look at it and they're like, oh, that's like the project that we're working on. So let's hire him, And then there's other times where I've done even personal art, that was, just like, sometimes you get into personal art and it's just a lot more, you can dive into it, sometimes a lot deeper than you would with like a class assignment piece or something that you would do for a client, Sometimes it's just like you can change things more to just like your flavor, and sometimes that's like so important to kind of develop that intuition. And so with some of those pieces, I remember getting this email from like a production designer, and he's like, hey, we saw this piece that you have on your, I think it was like a blog back then, dude. It was like so back in the day. But he wanted to buy the design, purchase the design for a Transformers movie, And I was like, what? I didn't even know that was a thing. It was like, yeah, could you let us know how much you want for that, And I was like, what? It's so cool, I also did like kit bashing. Like I was so kind of like burnt out by concept art and just doing that kind of stuff. So I would try to do these personal art that wasn't just like painting, And so I would try to do I did like some kit bashing on my own, and then I basically tried to figure out like how to like design something, spray it down all primer so it looks really cool, and then basically like take photos of it and then put it in an environment and just like kind of treat it like that, right? So I did that, and then it was like this scene with like all these like kit bash robots, and again, you know who called? Transformers, dude. They're like, we like this design. It was one of for like it was like in one of the Transformers movie where it's not a Transformers robot, but it was like a military where the U.S. military kind of like was starting to integrate Transformers technology into their stuff. So they had this like a like a walker thing, and that was like a design that I had. So they bought it. I was like, oh sweet, man, that's kind of cool. It's cool to know like stuff like that happens. So when people say like, oh, like personal work and should you do it? Should you not? I'm like, heck yeah, you should. It's like some of my best work is like personal work, not work that I do for. I don't know. It's bad to say, but like sometimes when I get to just like make my own decisions, I like the outcome so much more, and then I'll for some reason try to push the envelope more, or do different things. I don't know if that makes sense, but dude, personal work, man, that's where it all grows, in my opinion.
When someone offers you money for it, like, how do you put a price on it then? How do you say, okay, all these hours that I spent, it equates to this amount of like dollar value?
Yeah, it was a little tough, but they ended up basically saying, hey, how is it like for like a 2-week rate, So we basically kind of ballparked it within that range, So they kind of helped me out a little bit, because it was kind of tough. Since I never really encountered that kind of discussion before. I was like, oh man, like how do I actually like do this? How do I tell them what I want? You know what I mean? It's kind of, yeah. It can be a little bit of a challenging situation, I guess I should say. Man, I'm like totally can't paint right now and talk to you guys at the same time. This is like more challenging than I thought. Anyway, let's keep going though.
Interesting though, kind of like balancing that, like, people are like, oh, don't draw or paint trendy stuff, but kind of like sticking to like, well, I like this, like I like Transformers and Paick and stuff, and just drawing it anyway, and that turns into opportunity. So that's cool to hear it's worked for you in the past, and definitely encouraging, because there's mixed messages right now, about like not drawing trendy things.
Totally.
Even though it's like,
And I think there's always a factor of there's never just one answer for all this, there's parts of it where it's like not everyone has it's like these I guess advice or just like discussions that we're having. It's not a cookie cutter answer for everybody, So it's I think it's important to, I don't know, man, just like explore it, and try to figure it out on your own a little bit, because and one thing also is I'm mostly known for like doing a lot of environments. Environments is my main sort of like expertise within concept design, and I was doing these just for fun because I can get kind of bored with like just like routine. So then I started doing this series of like World War II like fictional characters, and I was just doing character stuff, like completely different from what I would normally do, and that ended up becoming an opportunity as well later on. Maybe like a year or two after I would do that, I did that series. A game company contacted me and they're like, hey, we're doing like a World War II game about these like fictional characters, and I'm like, dude, I'm all about it, man. Let's do this, And so it's just like you never know. You know what I mean? Like these seeds that you plant will either bring you fruit for build some technique and better understanding of like technical art and design aspects, or an opportunity. Either way, it's like it's a pretty good use of time in my opinion, So I don't know if that kind of like adds to anything, but yes, the road of the artist.
The World War One and Two stuff is super cool. I definitely like checking that stuff out, and it's cool too. There's so much reference on it too, so it's kind of nice to like just do these studies and create your own environments or stories from those.
Yeah, totally. And I don't know about for anyone else, but there are times when I get really inspired by what I watch in like a film or something, and my I don't know, my personal work or things like that would just kind of like fall in that line for like a few months or something, and then something else would inspire me, and then I'll just kind of like swing that way. Is that how it is for everyone else?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What's the current thing right now? What's got you guys hooked?
Oh, can I talk?
Oh yeah. For sure. Jump on.
Something cool I'm watching right now is a YouTube channel of James Paick. Man, you're doing great. I really love your video.
You're funny, man.
You're updating every week, and I hope you're gonna do something like you did a concept for Jack 4
Mm-hmm.
with man, if you do videos like that to explain the behind the scenes,
Oh,
that would be
okay.
really awesome.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
thank
but
you.
yeah, yeah. I mean, all of your videos are really cool.
Oh, thanks, man.
I hope
appreciate that.
you continue updating.
Thank you. Appreciate that, dude. Oh, that's funny.
You're doing this just for like practice or just to draw something, or there is any reason?
Oh, this tree?
No, I'm talking about your channel right
Oh,
now.
my channel? You know, it's I don't know. It's like, so a lot of it is, I don't know. There's why am I doing that? That's kind of a good question. I think one thing is I don't know. It sounds weird to say this on my own, but I feel like I'm just like a teacher at heart, you know, and even way back in like art school, I remember, you know, there's people that either know a lot or, you know, we're just like learning it for the first time, and there's people that were just like very open with sharing things, you know, and there's like no secret. It's just a matter of exposure and trying things out, you know, and I think that's what it is during my career I encountered individuals who were just really open with that kind of thing, and I just thought that was kind of cool, and it helped me a lot, and you know, that's what it is, you know. I think this industry is just like a fun industry to like, you know, when if you're like in a group of like, let's say your friends, you know, and you're just like, hey, what do you guys do for a living? Like some random person asks the group, and you're going through all their friends, you know. Some people would say, oh, I'm an accountant, and oh, I'm a mechanic, or, you know, and then someone says, dude, I design for video games or films. It's like, what? That's such a freaking cool thing, you know. And so I don't know, I just that dream that I had when I was young and trying to get to understand what I wanted to do in concept design. The concept design wasn't even a thing. It wasn't even on the radar back in the day. It wasn't even there, you know? Like, I thought I was going to be a gallery painter, to be honest. I'll be straight honest. I thought I was going to do illustrations for editorial magazines and newspapers, because that was kind of the understood direction for a lot of illustration major that was there, you know, back in my time. But yeah, I don't know, just like sharing.
Oh, that's cool, man. I really
long
it
answer.
because, no, yeah, it's a good answer. Like, it's nice to see people like talking on the video, exploring, not doing always like the same stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and especially seeing people like you, like experts, like it's really nice.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, but I paint really small, which can get annoying if you're trying to watch it through your screen, you know, because it's actually really small on my screen. So I'm trying to zoom in more, but this is like harder because I need to like sit back more. Yeah. Does anyone paint like traditionally or used to in here? Like anybody? Dude, how many people do we have in here? Wow, there's a lot of people in here. It's awesome.
Painted with gouache a lot.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. Dude, gouache is awesome. I love gouache. Like, I think there's like a lot of good mediums, but personally what reacted to me and sort of the way I apply paint and layer and stuff, like gouache was just like so good. That's awesome. Yeah, love it. Do you know the artist Mike Hernandez?
Yeah, Squatch Quash.
Yeah. Dude, he was my instructor back at Art Center. So he taught outdoor landscape painting, right? It was a mind-blowing class because it was a class where you know, you would paint outdoor all the time and you had a limited palette, so you had to really learn how to mix colors. And so dude, when Mike would just be like, hey, this is how you want to see and how you translate. That was like the hardest thing to paint outdoors, you know, like see it and you're like, how do I translate, right? Like what I'm looking at into a brush stroke and with color, you know? He is amazing, dude. I love that guy, man. He is such a good teacher. Let's see here. Yeah, look him up if you guys have it. If you don't know Mike Hernandez, he's amazing. And there's like a lineage of artists kind of in that time, specifically that just like paint insanely well. Like, do you guys all know Paul Lassane? He's also a concept artist.
Love Paul Lassane.
Yeah.
That was like one of my first influences, man. Like, dude, Paul Lassane, like one of my favorite movies. Like, it's like around the holidays, you know, just watching like the Santa Claus. Dude, I had no idea he did one of the matte paintings of like the rooftops, you know, of like, you know, it looked like some like, you know, CG or like some super high like 3D stuff, and it was just Paul Lassane painting, you know, on glass. Cool.
Yeah. Oh, how nuts is that, right? Like, that's such a skill. It's such a lost skill, dude, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn oils, man, just because, like, oils and just, like, acrylic, some of the stuff that those, like, you know, OG, like, concept artists and stuff that worked in the industry we're working with, where, you know, they had no undo, they just had to think about their strokes. But Paul Lassane definitely up there with an influence.
Oh, heck yeah. He's great. He's great. Man, who else is there? I think there's so many, like, when we get into that, like, conversation, because, you know, man, it's not to this statement is like, there's so many artists that I remember being so influential when I was first in trying to learn about concept design, and they were so widespread in skill sets. You know, it was just amazing. It was really, really awesome. Like, painters versus like more like designers, like Doug Chang, you know, versus like the painting side, which would be more like Eric Timmons. I don't know if you guys know these names, but Eric Timmons is from like the episode 1, 2, 3 Star Wars from all at Lucas Ranch. But man, that was like these like different teams, dude. Those are pretty awesome, pretty amazing.
Yeah, or like Ryan Church has both of those abilities. Like, I really love that, like, paint and design at the same time. Like, that stuff's epic. That's really what I aspire to.
And you know what's crazy too is like, Ryan Church went to Art Center, right? So when you took certain teachers, when you took certain classes, they'd bring out the old students' work, right? And they're like, hey, check this out. This is Ryan Church. And we're like, oh! And they're like, check this out. This is Craig Mullins. We're like, oh! And you're just like, what the F? Because these teachers are like, they're like these old guards, dude, that like knew so much. Like, we had teachers that worked on original Star Wars that were like still teaching, you know, when I went to school. And like, that's like some old school stuff. Like, you can't get that, you know. It's so crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it's cool, like, you know, like, so many people that went to Art Center, like yourself and, you know, John Park and, like, all these other, like, you know, even, like, Feng Zhu and stuff that went to Art Center, like, it kind of passed on that, like, tradition, but in this new medium of, like, you know, digital learning and stuff. So, yeah, just, you know, grateful, you know, for yourself that's just out there, you know, spreading the knowledge and continuing that tradition of passing the trade down from generation to generation. Super cool.
Oh, for sure, dude. Isn't that where like art is all about? Like, when we really learn about art history, that's the crazy thing, right? It's like this person learned from this person and that person from there, and there's like this chain link. Like, literally, like, it's kind of crazy. Someone should do like a family tree of like the lineage of art, because I'm pretty sure there's a way to like connect Craig Mullins all the way back to like, you know, Michelangelo, you know what I mean? So,
well, that's how it used to be done. But like, people like that's, you know, was taught was very much like, you know, apprenticeship and stuff, but just passing that knowledge down from like one master to the next.
Totally.
So it's cool to do in the digital age, man. And yeah, like, you know, have been following you, for a while. I found concept art 3 years ago, and then really dedicated my life to it. So, but it was cool when you started putting out some YouTube videos constantly. I was like, dude, your like approaches are so, like, I don't know, like the way you teach it just makes it seem like, oh, I can do concept art too, which is awesome. I think it's that time-honored trait of just like, yeah, you can do it. It's just like based on some simple fundamentals and techniques.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the big message. That's like the real message, because it's very achievable. You know what I mean? It's like because during my journey, when I was like trying to get into art school, I was like barely getting in. I wasn't a high achiever. I was like going in, I'm like, oh my god, why is everybody so much better than me? But I think by trying to focus more on what like you want to do and get less distracted by things that are, can be fun, but they kind of like waste your time or distract from the focus, I would say, then you can kind of get a different result. That's kind of the concept that I guess like I was taught. All right, just painting painting stuff back here. Some trees or something. Yeah, it's doing like this little study. It's almost like a free flow study. It's kind of fun. It's fun to do art that's not it doesn't have to be high stress. You guys know what I mean by that? Like high stress work. What's up? Welcome. You guys are just hanging out. We're just talking. So feel free to like ask questions. I don't know. If there's a topic we want to talk about, just let us know. Let me know. We'd love to talk about anything, really. But I think that's kind of the thing, though. It's just, in this live stream, I'm going to figure out more things to do, more things to talk about. But
James, right now at your level, so where your skills are developed, do you have any like preference to do like, I don't know, comics or books with illustration, so you could put a little bit of storytelling, create like your own vision, stuff like that, or you don't care about that stuff?
That's a good question, man. I think right now it's a lot of my focus has kind of been what do I want to do next? I think I'm not sure. I definitely have like things that I'm trying to focus on a business sense, and with like kind of growing like school aspects and my studio a little bit more on those ends, and I guess that's kind of like been the focus for what I've done for quite a while, is more like doing a lot of sort of the behind the scene and more business aspects. So I think for me it's actually trying to get more into art a lot more. I think that's kind of stemming back to the original question about like, oh, why do you do kind of like the YouTube stuff or these channels or whatever. I think it's just, it gives me incentive to just do more art, almost like creating these outlets for me to just like, okay, this is where you could do art. That's also one thing where I really love teaching, is because I get to do just like unsolicited art. It doesn't have to be for a specific client or for a specific like thing like that. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of where I am right now. Is I miss doing a lot of art. And for anyone that's trying to think about, oh yeah, I want to get into like art direction and be like kind of move up into like creative director roles, like things start changing. There's less art up there, you know what I mean, because your time is going to be so divided into like these different responsibilities that art kind of goes down to the art team, the concept artists, the leads, and and the senior kind of artists and stuff. So kind of want to do that. That's kind of what
Yeah,
I want to do.
I imagine. I was listening to an interview from Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn. Yeah, like he did a lot of the business side because he started as a comic book artist, and after he became a big businessman. But sometimes he feel like I want to just draw. Fuck it, I have this skill and I have this need to create stuff. But the business, he had to take care of the business because nobody can do it. So yeah, it's a strange place to be.
Yeah, it's always a grass is greener, you know. And so, but hey, you know, go try it and see. And I hope this is not like you know, discouraging anyone from like wanting to be like an art director or anything, but it is different responsibilities. It becomes a different role, a different task, you know. I think that's something that should be assumed as roles like go up into management. It's like being in the military, you know, like the generals they don't shoot guns, right? They kind of like, they have to make more big decisions and stuff like that.
No, I totally agree. Hey, James, it's Gary.
Hey, yo, what's up, man?
What's up, man? I totally agree. I had to be an art director at a couple of companies to realize that I didn't want to be an art director. Like one art director job was good, and then it led into a much worse art director position, and you're wearing so many hats, and it's more about delegating art than it is about creating art. And then being a shield for any of the actual artists against like the upper echelon of whatever company you're working for. So I absolutely agree. I wouldn't dissuade anybody from doing it if you like that kind of stuff, but for me, I was always happiest when I was creating.
And you know, you bring up a good point, Gary. It's like shielding the artists from some of the other departments and other things like that, other interactions and things. That's a role that like people don't really talk about, but it happens, you know. And the artists that are like, that can just focus on what they do, and they don't really get pulled into, you know, I don't want to say politics, but whatever word we're gonna use. That means like the art director's doing a good job, just like keeping them away from like some of the BS, you know. That's so true, man.
It's a hard role. It's a really hard role.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, man. So back to the art, man. Back to the love, dude. You know. Let's see. Yeah, this is cool. Thanks for hanging out, guys. This is pretty fun. I'm enjoying. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well. And I don't know. It's kind of right in the middle of a Wednesday, right in the middle of the week.
You mentioned you generally work smaller than what you're working on right now. Is that like the canvas size is also small, and then you like up-res it later, or is it just that you start with the canvas that you're gonna ship, and then you like just zoom out a lot?
Oh, just zooming out. Like I would probably work more in that's a little too small. Like right here. This is more ideal for me, but like just for like visibility for what I'm doing, like this kind of makes more sense to kind of paint it a little bit on this size. But yeah, you know. But you know, this is kind of just like having fun. It almost looks like a shoe for some reason. We're just gonna see shoes, man. That's all we're gonna see today. Shoes. Yeah, but this is pretty fun. I'm gonna plan to do more, just like more kind of like live streams like this, and this is kind of like foreign area for me. So I'm just trying to pick it up and see where it goes. But thanks for everyone being a part of it, and you know, give me some fun things to talk about and things like that. Here, let's do some reflections on the
Next time we're gonna draw all together, maybe.
Yeah, dude. Let's figure out some. I'm totally open to like some ideas. I just don't know how to like do it. Like everyone just get on camera and just draw or something. I don't know. How do we do that?
Yeah, maybe we can post it in the end of the live or the next day.
Yeah, man. That's cool. Yeah.
Maybe we can do something cool, like take some old drawing from when we was kid, maybe 10 years ago or more, and redraw it. It'd be cool,
dude.
To see the result.
I have a 4-year-old son right now, and what I always wanted to do was get him to draw something, and then I finish it. I've always wanted to do that, cause he likes drawing some like random stuff. It's so cool, but it's like I wanna like finish it for him and then show like what it could be or something. That'd be kind of fun. Here, let me see here.
You mentioned that. I think I saw an artist in Japan. He was posting what his kids would draw, figure drawings, and then he would use those design, and then he do his version of the design on his artist level. So it's really cool. Like you say that you could do that too.
I think I might have seen something like that on the internet or on Instagram perhaps, or something like that, where there's like there's like a dad that did like special effects, and then he would do all this special effects, so like pictures of his kids or something. This is fun. Remember when people were just like at home during the first part of the pandemic? People were just like so bored, right? They're doing so many random things on the internet, you know. It was pretty funny. Let me see here.
Yeah, I remember Raphael Lacoste had like something where his daughter was like, "Oh, draw like a mushroom something," or kind of gave him a mushroom kind of prompt, and then he turned it into some badass like matte painting. It's cool to see that, you know.
Yeah.
It's imaginary prompt, and then take it with the skills of like an artist. It's cool to see that. So it'd be cool if you can like turn one of your kids' drawings into one of your concept.
Absolutely right. I don't know. Do any of you have like what's the sort of audience like here? Anyone like have kids or in that realm, or is it mostly like single and doing my thing?
I have a dog.
You have a dog? I love it, dude. What kind of dog?
He's a Samoyed.
What's a Samoyed?
Yeah, think about like a husky, but pure white.
Ooh.
And like maybe fluffier.
Ooh, that's gorgeous, man. I'm a total dog person, dude. I love dogs.
I can post a photo in the chat.
Yeah, dude, go for it. If you guys have pets, like post them up. This is fun. I like how like organic this conversation's going. This is so cool. Oh yeah. Who else? Anyone else have any children?
I have a daughter.
Yeah, nice. How old's your daughter?
She just turned 2.
2 years old. Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So it's a fun time. Yeah, hard to balance the art time and the family time, but it's all good.
That was one thing. It was like a different. So when you had a lot of time, it was like a different balancing trick, right? But then now that there's like less time and it becomes like scattered throughout the day, yeah, totally, man. That's like a different time management skill. But it's so worth it, you know. It's so needed.
Yeah, I love it.
That's cool. Congratulations. What's her name?
Thank you. Elle.
Elle?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's a beautiful name. That's cool.
Thank you.
All right. Let's do a little bit. I don't know what else to do on this, but I feel like at a certain point, sometimes these paintings, when I keep adding more, it gets worse. I'm trying to find that right spot, you know. But yeah, pretty fun conversations today. Let me see, what else can we put back here? Maybe a little
You
bit.
guys think about doing any like workshops this year? Kind of like last year.
Oh, like physical ones?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. We totally want to. We're just trying to kind of figure things out, and our last one that we had physical, we were in were you there? And when it was in kind of like this shopping center area? Yeah, and it was like the sound, like we learn everything, you know, as we do. You know what I mean, right? And so like it was really a good learning experience. So we want to really try and find like a better venue. You know what I mean? It'd be so much better if we kind of did it that way. But that's definitely in store. You know, we're also like, what's that again?
So like instead of trying to do something like a concert place, like during the day those are pretty empty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're going to, and then at nighttime they would already have this like the whole speaker system there for you, and probably even like projectors and stuff, you know? Like,
Yeah.
like getting chairs and then like wrapping up before they have to set up at night or something.
Right. Yeah, that's true, right? So all learning, man. I remember when we had like the physical campus, it was so much easier, right, to just like host like workshop, and you know, and we could fit in like a pretty good number of people. I remember like in that space, you know, but now it's like such a different, like, we had to get rid of the location and do all the different type of stuff, but we'll figure it all out. Where is that? I'm like trying to find my brush strokes here. There we go. Get a little bit more. Oh, that looks kind of weird. All right. Well, that's like, I think that's about it on this one. Any other topics? Anything else that we can talk about? Well, we got some more time.
Hey James, now that you have been in this industry for so many years, what do you think you could have done something differently, or is there something you wish you could have done differently?
Oh man, you know, I'm curious. Like I wonder about certain things like that, you know, and so there were like opportunities I distinctly remember. So I think to answer your question, I wouldn't change anything major. I think most of it would stay pretty accurate, because, you know, and I would ask any concept artists to kind of think about this more internally, which is like, what kind of concept art lifestyle do you want as a lifestyle and job and career and all that kind of mixed together? Because like some people are like they'll have like a really awesome day job, you know, at like a Marvel Studios or something, you know, but once the clock, you know, it's off clock, they just go home and they're hanging out with family and they're, you know, just doing that kind of thing, you know. And then there's the other type that, you know, does the work, freelances at night, you know, teaches in the day, and, you know, does all this different type of stuff, right? There's all these different types of personalities, you know. And so I think for like my personality, because I have this one I have this like one mentor, he worked at one studio for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's I could never there's no way I could ever do that, you know. And so I think that's something that is good to know about yourself. And so I would still have pursued like doing my own studio. I because my parents are both like entrepreneur or small business owners, you know. So yeah, I think I would have done that, but I would have taken some opportunities to work overseas. I really wish I would have done that. Yeah, there were two particular times when, one, it was to work in I think it was like Singapore, at this one studio, and they're just like, yeah, we'd love to like just have you work here for like 6 months, and then we'll pay for your place and and then, you know, when you're done you can move back. And I was just like, oh, I don't know, you know, because like, oh, my family, or I made up some, you know, lame excuses. And then the other one was to work in France for a year. And then I was like, oh man, and same thing. I was just like, oh, my family and my friends or whatever. But now that I think about it, I was like, man, I should have went, dude. I totally should have gone. So stuff like that, where it kind of breaks out of your norm, you know, and breaks like, I wish that stuff I would have done more. Yeah. I hope that answered your question. Well,
I think you are a kind. I mean, at least it feels like you are a kind of person who really likes to jump around between 2-3 things, and you keep hyper focusing on that stuff, and you enjoy that stuff. Is that true?
What's that? Wait, that was a little fast. Sorry, but can you see that one more time?
I mean, you seem like a person who likes to do business kind of side. Then you like juggling 2-3 things at the same time, and I think you enjoy that a lot.
Yes, you're spot on.
True?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is my personality type, and I also really tend to work really well with people that do the same thing. You know. Yeah. So like in a way, I think it's sort of like a lack of being able to just focus on one thing. You know, to be honest. Yeah. I have an older sister. She's the exact opposite. She's like, let me just do one thing. I just want one thing, you know. But I'm the complete opposite.
God.
Yeah.
Can't do that. Can't do that.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, that's totally true. And so and going back to that, I think this industry has a spot for any personality type because there's so many different types of working situations out there. Yeah, so it's I think there's like vast opportunities. It's not just like a cookie cutter like position that they look for in industries. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And what you said that you need to think your lifestyle and your concept art career. I often think about that a lot. Like this career is almost your lifestyle. Like you kind of have to choose this painting and sculpting and photo bashing over everything. I mean, it will kind of take your most I guess socialization and many stuff, but I guess that's like how you said you had to teach sometimes, then you had to work sometimes. I often think about it.
Yes, that you know like to kind of use that as like a topic real quick is you know being a concept artist in a lot of ways is sort of being like a kind of like a professional athlete, you know. Where,
yes, I always think like this. Oh my god.
Yeah, it is where it's like there's so much dedication to developing this craft, and everything in your life like ends up supporting that craft in some sort of way or another. You know, like your friend circle, like your hobbies, what movies you watch, like they all sort of like navigate towards this focal point of your craft, and not a lot of people understand that about art. You know, like the general public has a really hard time understanding that. If you say that about an athlete, they go, "Oh yeah, I get it," you know, because it's kind of like an understood sample, you know. But I agree with you. I totally agree with you, man. Yeah. Anyways, gosh, I think I'm like beating a dead bush over here with this like. What did I just say? A dead bush? A dead horse. I'm beating a dead horse. But I feel like I'm just like noodling, so I'm gonna stop on this one. But I think we have like we'll keep it like at an hour today. But this was pretty cool. This was a fun touch base. I'll do something else next week. We'll, and maybe there's like we can chat about some topics maybe ahead of time. I can maybe pick some samples of some things that we can talk about. But this was like a super awesome, you know, first pass at doing this, and I had a great time talking with everybody. Thanks for joining. Is there any other things that we can talk about for a couple more minutes? Man, I want to add a tree in the foreground here somehow. Gosh, maybe.
Hey James,
what's up?
I actually just wanted to drop a suggestion. I think the voice channel only have a limit of 25 people, and you can edit it.
Oh.
Many more people wants to hop and they're like saying that in chat, so yeah.
Oh, gotcha. I put a limit on there, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the settings channel, you can see it in the overview.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thanks for that. I appreciate that feedback. That's so helpful. Yeah, this is like a total first round. It's gonna be the bumpiest, but you're part of the part of the launch. You're part of the first one. Oh man, it was too good. Anyways, y'all, thanks for coming by, and I think we'll do one like next week too. You know, we'll just keep it kind of like scheduled and keep it pretty casual like this. When it's casual and stuff, I think it's like you can just like do more of it, you know, and keep it more regular. So, all right, y'all, thanks again. I'll talk to you guys next week or something. All right, We'll see you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
All right. Take care, y'all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.